Hello, healers and health seekers. It's me, Ichoda, healing with medical medium information for almost 4 years now. It's been 3 years and 11 months. And if I tried to tell you the list of everything and all the symptoms and conditions that I have healed or am healing from, it would take way too long, and I've done it, and I did 3 whole videos about it because that's how long it got. But some of the main ones that I dealt with were mast cell activation disorder, POTS, dysautonomia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, migraines, hypothyroid, tinnitus, PCOS, SIBO, systemic exertion intolerance disorder, chronic fatigue syndrome. The list goes on and on, so I won't bore you with it. But that's not even what I'm here to talk about today. Today, I am here to share more of my healing journey because it's time for What's Up Wednesday. That's when I come here. I talk about what's been going on with me and my healing journey. And this Wednesday is day 9 of the Advanced 369 Liver Rescue Cleanse from the Cleanse to Heal book by Medical Medium. And it is my second round, my first round of the Advanced, my second round of because I did before that, I did a round of the original 369 updated. And previous to that, last year, it's been probably about a year since I've done cleanses like this. But last year or the year before, whenever was the last time I did it, I did, I think, 4 rounds of the original 369. So this is technically my 6th round, but is my first round of the advanced. Is that as confusing for everyone else as it was for me just to even say it? So today is day 9, which means it's the day of juicing. And in the Liver Rescue 369 cleanses, the day of juicing has become my favorite day because I love all of the different juices. And I know this is going to sound crazy to say, but it's less food prep to just do the juices than it is to do the foods. Prepping salad takes such a long time. So I will tell you, it is day 9, so I have not finished the cleanse yet, so I'll probably do another update if something else comes up, but I just kind of wanted to give a wrap up of it and how it was for me and how it went and what I did. So I basically followed pretty closely to the sample menu that Medical Medium has in the Cleanse to Heal book, or I tried to anyway. For lunch, he gives an option of the liver rescue smoothie or spinach soup. There were days when I didn't actually have all the spinach soup ingredients, so those are the days I would have the liver rescue smoothie. Most of the time I had the spinach soup, mostly because I really wanted to get all the greens in. And for dinner, there are actually several options that you can do for dinner on all days, basically days 1 through 8. You can choose from a variety of options. There's 5 different options, I think. And so I did mix that up a little bit. And now when I previously did the original 369 updated cleanse, instead of the salads, I opted for the liver rescue soup. And that for me was so much easier than dealing with the salads because A, there's the chewing of all the salads, and B is just the prep, and somehow it just was so much easier to prep the soup than the salad. And I find that to be true with spinach soup too. And I have to go read in the book and see if I can do that again, because the results from the cleanse I'm getting make me want to keep doing rounds of it because I'm really happy with what's going on. But the food prep makes me go, how am I going to do this? Because it's one thing if all you're doing is a cleanse and you don't have a family to cook for and prepare food for, and it's just you and you can just take that time. But it's another thing if you have a family to prepare and cook food for, and you have other things that are occupying your time and attention that make it so that you can't necessarily get everything in on a perfect schedule. Now, the point of the cleanse is not to be perfect. And I know that. So I'm not like mad at myself that I didn't do it perfectly. And I can still use it as an opportunity to see like, well, where would I like to do better or different or whatever. And as you may know if you watch my videos, what has been occupying my time lately is my seedlings and my container garden and dealing with those and taking them in and outside and stuff. And a garden waits for no one. So I sort of have to be accommodating to their schedule or else my plants aren't going to thrive. So I can't just be like, oh, hey plants, guess what? I'm going to do a cleanse for 9 days, so I'm not going to have any time to pay attention to you. No, I can't do that. So I need to find time to make food and deal with like replanting and repotting and hardening off my seedlings and stuff like that. It's like a whole thing. And that is kind of what I found interfered a lot of the time. They interfered with each other. Like my food prep would interrupt my repotting of my plants, and my repotting of my plants interrupted my food prep. But I still don't feel like that was a reason not to do it, and I'm really glad I did it. So I'll just tell you what kind of results I'm seeing that are making me super glad that I did this cleanse. Now remember, I've been on this medical medium path for a few years, and I have done all of his other cleanses before the Cleanse to Heal book. So I have done the 28-day cleanse more than once. I have done the thyroid healing cleanse. Although I didn't properly finish that one, because I think it was something about this, I don't remember, it was something about the soup. So I didn't properly finish that one, but I have done it, and I have done the 28-day cleanse more than once, and I have done the Liver Rescue 369, like I said, 4 times before this, and then I just did a round of the original updated. I really wanted to do that round first because I did that with my husband, and he wasn't willing to do the advance, so I was like, that's cool, I'll just do this one because I wanted Brussels sprouts. I friggin' love steamed asparagus and I love Brussels sprouts, and I wanted to do a cleanse where I got to have those because on the advance there's no cooked food, it's all raw. Okay, so the benefits that I have seen that are the most, well, I'll just say, here are all the things that I loved about the cleanse. What I loved was, 1, it puts a structure into my eating and into my day that really is supportive to my adrenals, and I really like that. And it's really making sure that I get very specific healing foods in, and I like that. So I really want to, no matter what, I want to keep that applesauce in that's like between the meals. And that's 1. I love the Liver Rescue applesauce. I can't really eat an apple right now. I have some stuff going on with my teeth that is from a long time ago that, because of my chemical sensitivities, plus this whole stuff that's going on in the world right now, and us being in kind of a newish area to us again, well, back in an area that is now again new to us. I don't have a dentist, and I haven't been able to find a dentist whose office I could safely go into. So I'm still looking for that. And in the meanwhile, I can't eat a whole apple and I can't chew a whole apple. But when I make the Liver Rescue applesauce, I can put 3 apples in there, blend them up with dates and celery, and I have a delicious, and some cinnamon, I have a delicious applesauce, and B, I can get 3 apples in, where honestly before, like even when I would eat an apple, I found it hard to even finish a whole apple, maybe because of all the chewing, but I always feel so full after eating 1 apple. Now I can just applesauce 3 of them and it's awesome. So I'm getting in 3 apples a day in just 1 serving of applesauce. If I eat 2 servings of applesauce a day, I could be eating 6 apples. And that's what I've been doing for most of the cleanse. And there was one day where I did not get to eat my applesauce, and that was yesterday, day 8. And that was my own fault because of time management. And that's most of my issues have been time management related, as far as like trying to balance the seedlings with the cleanse. and sometimes running out of ingredients and not being sure what I'm supposed to do. There were a couple times, well, okay, so day 7, I didn't get my celery juice in, the second celery juice. I got the first one in, and you're supposed to have 2 on day 7 and 8. I didn't do that. I was really disappointed in myself for not doing that. I don't mean in a beating up kind of way, just like, that's part of it. That's part of the whole structure of day 7 and 8 is having that second celery juice, and I didn't get it in. And then there were a couple days where I didn't get the teas in at night before I went to bed. And while the temptation might be there to be like, if I'm not doing it right, is it even going to work? I remember that he said in the lives, medical medium said, no matter what you do, even if you only do 1 day of the cleanse, it actually does make a difference for your healing, and it forwards your healing. So I thought, that's not a reason to quit. Just keep going. Just keep doing it. And if I do a second round, I'll just try to do better. The next time I'll try to do more like by the book. I mean, in an ideal world, I wouldn't have other distractions. There would just be me in a hermit on a mountain, right? Like no distractions, all the food I needed, whatever. But that's not how life works. Like life has distractions and life has other things that occupy your time and attention. And sometimes you just got to roll with it. So I rolled with it. And I was like, okay, I didn't get my tea in. I'll get it in tomorrow, And I did. I would do it the next day. So there were a couple nights like that. Again, back to what I love about the cleanse. So I love the structure that it puts in. I love that I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I do a little bit because I have to gather up all the ingredients to prep the food, and I have to do the food prep. So there's that part, but there's the whole, my menu is pretty much laid out for me. And if I have all the ingredients, I'm good. I just have to do a little bit of planning beforehand to make sure I have all the ingredients. So I really loved that part of it. And I really love that I am seeing. So another thing, and I don't talk about this much, and it's not, I just forget about it. It's just all the time. But off and on over the years, I have had, in my right foot in particular, edema around my ankle that honestly it looks like half of a donut banded around my ankle all the time. It isn't always, but it has been going on for many years. And it will go down in the winter months. Not totally, but it'll go down in the winter months and not swell so bad. But then sometimes it does. Sometimes the swelling gets higher. And in the summer, it usually gets way worse. When it gets warm, it swells up more. And it used to be affected by barometric pressure and temperature and all of these things. My whole body used to be affected by barometric temperature and pressure and all these things. Like my pain levels, because of so much inflammation in my body, even the barometric pressure would put extra pressure on my body, and it would cause excruciating pain. And I know that so many people who have fibromyalgia deal with that, and it's a horrible symptom. And that has been gone for so long, and it's beautiful. So the edema doesn't bother me much, except for, it affects what shoes I can wear and when I can wear them and stuff like that. But obviously the way it looks is unpleasant. So it doesn't hurt and it doesn't whatever. But sometimes when it did swell, it does make my foot feel like a balloon inflating, like a sausage stuffed into a what are those called? Sausage casing. It was really uncomfortable. And there have been times when I've done the 28-day cleanse and the swelling goes away, but then over time it comes back. So it's been in and out for a long time. And yes, I know the cause of it is Epstein-Barr virus taking up residence in that particular area in my ankle, I guess, because I have previous injuries there. One of my ankles I've broken once and one I've broken twice, and I don't remember which one is which, but because they've both been broken because connective tissue disorder. So makes my ankles weak and rolly. One of the things that can happen with Epstein-Barr virus is it can take up residence in places that have had previous injuries, and that is clearly apparent for my foot and the edema in my foot, and it can cause edema, and extra inflammation, and if you have a sluggish liver and the lymphatic system can't clean it out and whatever. So when I eat raw, it always sort of cleans out a bit and the swelling will go down. And occasionally it's gone down all the way, but then eventually it comes back. And again, with the Liver Rescue 369, it's going down. And I'm really happy about it. It hasn't gone down all the way, but it's gone down significantly. And since I don't have that many symptoms left, I look at the ones that I do have, and that's one of the ones where I'm like, okay, that's like a visual cue for me of what is happening. Now, another thing, I don't know if anybody else can see this, so I don't know if I tell you this, if you'll see it, but I have noticed that my face looks thinner when I look in the mirror, and it's slightly and it's subtle and it's almost like it's little enough that I'm like, is that really happening? But it is. And I'm like, okay, I could deal with more of this, because that's inflammation, and medical medium says that a lot of the weight that we carry, it can be like 30% of the weight that we carry that we think is extra weight is actually water retention, which would make sense because I have the edema in my foot, right? So in my ankle, so it would be elsewhere too. But I've also noticed that my body also looks thinner, and I'm like, what? Now, I don't have a scale, so I cannot measure in a number, but again, medical medium says that number fluctuates anyway, and is really not the measure of what, that's not really what we should be looking at. So I'm not terribly concerned about the number. It's more of a curiosity, like, But what I could do, I think, and what I might do, and maybe I should have done before the video, but whatever, is I might measure with a tape measure, because I do have those measurements recorded from, at least compared to the last time I've measured myself. Because there's like a visible difference, and it's kind of cool. So I'm digging that, because I know it's been a long time of my healing, and yes, I have lost weight and I have lost swelling and stuff like that, but it's been always a kind of a slow process. But whenever I eat raw, I mean, it goes faster, but this has been like a lot faster, because it's been 18 days, 9 days of the first cleanse, 9 days of this one, and I'm like, holy moly. If I can see a visible difference, because usually when I lose weight, I don't know, this is going to be weird to say, and maybe some of you can relate to this, but I can feel when it's happening. It's like my body feels different, but I don't always see it visibly. And this time, all of that's happening, and it's almost like I can see it before I'm feeling it, but I don't know. Anyway, any woman knows. Well, I shouldn't say any woman, because there are women who struggle to put on weight, and for them it would be the opposite, where it's like if they put on weight, they'd be delighted. But for probably 75%, I don't know what the percentage is, but I feel like most of us are like, yay, weight loss. Again, now, when I was at my sickest and throughout a good part of my healing journey, that I would not even cared about that, honestly, because what good is losing weight if you can't walk? I shouldn't just say if you can't walk, because there's a difference between not being able to walk and still being coherent and functional, and not being able to walk because you don't have any gas in the tank. And so I guess what I mean to say is if you can't function, because that's really what I'm pointing to. It's not ability to walk versus not, it's ability to function. So if you can't function and your brain fog is so strong and all this other stuff, it's like all of these other symptoms and conditions, and you're in super pain all the time, what does that matter what your weight is? It never mattered. And I'm not saying it didn't matter like at all, but it was not my top concern. My top concern was regaining function and just being able to be in the world, because when you lose that, it's way more important to you than what you weigh. Now that I've regained so much function, and my symptoms are down so much, I don't have as many to focus on. Now I can start looking at those things that are a little bit more extraneous and surface, I would say. Not that it's that simple, but anyway, it's kind of cool because it really just points to functionality that I care about my weight at all. It just points to me being functional and having healed a lot. So there's that. And then I would say that it's tricky because before I started the cleanse, my brain fog had gone whoosh, like, again, if you're going to compare it to when I was my sickest, doesn't even touch it. But for what I have achieved as my new normal and what is normal for me, it was a lot. And I have talked to a lot of people who have said the same thing, like in the past couple of months or a few weeks, their brain fog has just gone whoosh, and it's been a lot stronger. And so of course that means being diligent about taking celery force, although I was not super diligent about taking my supplements this cleanse. Now it is optional during the 369 cleanse to not take your supplements, but as I had been taking them before, and he says it's fine if you want to, I was trying to take my supplements, but I noticed that when I got on the raw, I have not been very good about it. I did it through the first round, but this round I'm just not being consistent. So it seems like when I'm doing something, like when I'm really in full self-care mode or whatever, there's always sort of something that falls out of that self-care. So right now is the supplements. It can be really difficult to do like to have a perfect routine of doing all the things, because there's some points in the day where I just want to not think about stuff and veg out and, do some sewing or crafting and watch some shows or something like that, or listen to some podcasts. And I don't necessarily want to have to think about like, oh, am I doing such and such a routine? Now, I would again say that this points to me having the luxury of not having to think about it so much, because I am so much more functional. And I noticed that when I get more functional, it can be a little bit harder for me to want to do the things that got me functional in the first place. Oh, it's so funny that way. Like when I was so sick, I would do anything. Like I would have done anything and I would have done whatever it takes. But now that I have more function, I'm like, I want to go just do this thing and not have to think about it. And that's okay. It's fine. I think it makes me laugh because it just does. It points to that functionality and it points to my healing. And I just am like, yeah, this is why people who aren't very sick are like, I'm not going to do all that, because it's like, well, they can still function, so they don't feel as motivated. But when you're super sick, you're super chronically ill, and you've got so many symptoms and conditions, you would literally climb a mountain if it meant, well, if it meant healing. You know what I mean? You'd drag yourself up a mountain. Like you would do anything, and it's worth it. It's worth it when it's medical medium information, because man, it's what keeps you. But I almost think that it's like really important to remember how sick you were, because it keeps you going sometimes when you feel like you don't want to do certain things. So anyway, it didn't do so great taking my supplements, but that's okay. It's day 9 again, which means today I have to decide whether or not, like if I need to make a big grocery list so that I'll have the right foods for the next few days to do another round. But I really do want to do another round because I'm feeling good. Again, I don't think I finished saying that my brain fog is better. But is it though? My cognition is better. But I was struggling a lot more with focus and cognition, and even like trying to read the Cleanse to Heal book. I ended up getting an audio version of it so that I could for some reason I could process that more easily than I could when I was reading the words on the page. And I'm doing both, so it's really interesting. Speaking of the Cleanse to Heal book, if anyone didn't know, on Instagram at Lauren Henry Health, I will put a link in the description box. She is doing a book club for the Cleanse to Heal book, and it's just an informal, totally casual online book club where if you want to, you can read along in the chapters, and she's going to make posts about the chapters, like 2 at a time, I think. And she's got a schedule on her Instagram. And if you want to, you can make a post about it and just join in and have discussions like in her threads or whatever about the book club. So Medical Medium even reposted that and talked about it in the live. So pretty cool. And I have been following Lauren for my entire healing journey, and she's been healing just a little bit longer than I have, and she has always been just a ray of sunshine and a light. And she's super down to earth, and she's super chill. And so if you want to do an online discussion kind of book club that's super informal, and it's kind of like whenever you have the time, go to her account, follow her, and you can join in to that. I'm in it. So yeah, I'm like terrible at making posts on Instagram, in my opinion. When I compare myself to the people who I think are good at it, like I'm just really bad about it. But I will try to make some posts about the chapters if I get my druthers into it. When I'm not focused on my seedlings. I think the part that I'm worst at is taking the pictures, which is so funny because I studied photography in school. And I have been a photographer like my whole life, and I don't know what my deal is lately. Can't really seem to take photos of anything that I would post. Oh, I'm such a goofball. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I don't even hardly take pictures of my animals. Okay, so yeah, this week I have just been focusing on the cleanse, and I have been focusing on my seedlings, and I'm very excited about both things. I'm really happy about the results. Oh, there was, speaking of inflammation going down in my body, there had been some tightness across my shoulders, which is like a shingles thing that I get sometimes, and kind of down my back, and a little bit of itching. I'm trying to think if I had any other sort. I had a little bit of soreness in my sacral spots on my back, which have long been burning shingles spots. Like when I say have long been, I mean for my lifetime, but since I've healed, those went away. They were a very, very painful area, and I had super pain down there in my sacral spots. They would burn like fire, and there would be so much pain, and you couldn't even, like, I would go get massages, and from what I've learned from massage therapists is most people like more pressure in their lower back and less pressure on their neck, and I would be like, no, opposite. More pressure on my neck and shoulders, less pressure on my lower back. Like, please barely touch those sacral spots. Like, gently rub them, but like don't really, because they really freaking hurt. And if anyone touched them, it would just be like explosion of pain. So I would be like, they need to be massaged because they hurt and the muscles hurt, but don't touch them. So it was always very tricky, but the pain has since disappeared, and only occasionally during my menstrual cycle, because during your menstrual cycle, 80% of your immune system goes to your reproduction, and only then will there be some tiny bit of soreness occasionally. It doesn't happen every time, and it's just so inconsequential anymore. I don't even really think about it. But there had been a little bit before I started the cleanses, and it's gone. It's gone. I'm trying to think of any symptoms or any kind of detox stuff. There's been like a couple of tiny little red dots on my face. A couple of little pimples. I just think of it's probably detox stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We will keep an eye on my skin. I like how it's been clear every time I look in the mirror. I'm just like, look at it. When I even look back at pictures for so long, I had so many problems with it. And that gallbladder, man, I really think that was such a huge part of it. And I just did not realize how affected it was for so long. And I just didn't know. But having it out, it's been amazing. Anyway, I would love to hear from you guys. How are you reading the Cleanse to Heal book and what you're thinking of it? And are you going to join the book club? And are you doing any of the cleanses? Because if you are doing any of the cleanses, I would love to hear about that. This has been, I just am loving. I don't necessarily love all the food in the Advanced 369 cleanse. I'll admit it. I don't hate any of it. Some of it I'm just like, do I have to chew more salad? Like I actually, in my food processor, I take it and I like chop it into little, almost into a pesto, to be honest. And then I'll like the leafy nori rolls, I just basically kind of make a pesto out of that and then use the nori to kind of pick it up with my hands and eat it. And that works for me. But I like that we can do smaller portions, because before I thought we had to eat all of the servings of the stuff that from the Liver Rescue Cleanse, the original, and that was a lot, and I had a really hard time getting all that food in. And because I wanted to do it as written. But so I like that the portions can be smaller, and I love the applesauce. I'm going to keep that applesauce in. Anyway, tell me about you. I want to hear how you're doing and what's going on with you guys, and if you're doing the cleanse and all of it. Whatever else you want to tell me, whatever else you want me to make videos about, just tell me. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, my healers and health seekers. I know it is a crazy world we're living in right now, and I just think it is so important to find the things that help us keep a light heart and find our joy. And so I want to encourage you to find whatever that is. Also, prayer, so much prayer. Talk to the angels, talk to whoever, your higher power or whatever you connect to, nature, trees, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Just take solace in it. Like, communicate with that. If it's your animals, man, talk to your animals. Anything that gives you joy, pet your animals. It's good for your adrenals. It really is. Like, really. Do your best to keep a light heart. I love you so much, and I really genuinely wish you so many blessings on your continued healing journey. You are all in my heart, and I love you. I will see you next time. Bye.